Begin Self-Publishing, episode number 70. Why is writing a book important?
Interested in self-publishing but don't know where to start? Want to get your book onto Amazon? Want to hold your paperback book in your hands? Learn how on the Begin Self-Publishing podcast with your host, Tim Lewis.
This week I've been busy, so I haven't been able to get around to booking the next tranche of guests to appear on the show. And I needed a show topic in a hurry. I originally thought of doing one of these general what have I learned from the podcast show. However, when I started along that path, it soon became just a list of episodes with a few bits of wisdom sprinkled in here and there. So I went back to a tried and tested technique I've found for show episode ideas. There are several sites like Answer the Public and Quora where you can get hold of questions that people are asking about a topic. When I typed writing a book into Answer the Public, and one of the questions that came up that people have been searching for about writing a book is, why is writing a book important? This piques my interest. Why is writing a book important? It is actually a very good question. The answer to this question for an individual should be something that they really should think about. Why is writing a book important to you? Now, clearly writing a book isn't important to everybody. There's a whole host of people who are never ever going to write a book and have no interest in writing a book. But I would be fairly certain that of those people, none of them would either read the blog post that comes with this episode or will listen to this podcast in the first place. So we can kind of get rid of the people who writing a book isn't important to. Those of you who are listening to this show are by definition almost saying that writing a book is important to you. So it's worth thinking about why exactly you want to write a book. I've come up with several ideas as to why I think people want to write books. One idea is a little bit of following the crowd. It's where people have seen their peers and other people they know and other people maybe they're jealous of have already written a book. This is especially easy now with self-publishing. Even in the old days before self-publishing, there were quite a lot of small presses who would be happy to publish books for people with an already existing audience. So a lot of the idea of writing a book is because everybody else you know has in your sector. And there's nothing wrong with that being the motivation for why writing a book is important to you. It's almost like a status symbol to show that you've got authority in that area. Another reason why a book might be important to you is that there is a point that you want to make, and it's not something that you can make in a short form piece of content like a podcast or a blog post. You need something a bit more meaty to explain this particular point that you're trying to make. I mean, we've all seen books where there is a point that a book is making and actually it could have been just a blog post. But sometimes for exposure and just for personal satisfaction of thinking you've done as much as you can, you want to write a book about a topic because you want that topic to be pushed into the mainstream. You basically need to write down and create a book based on this particular idea. Another related concept is that you are an expert, but nobody is taking you seriously. In this case, writing a book can help you demonstrate to people that you are an expert. It's still true that people think the person who wrote the book on the subject is the person who knows the most about it, when in reality this isn't actually true. But sometimes you want to write a book to demonstrate knowledge and to make people believe that you are an expert in something. This can be a bit shaky because the reason why people might not believe you're an expert is because you might genuinely not be an expert. It's very easy to fall into this trap of thinking you know about a subject when actually you don't. So if this is your reason for doing it, if nobody's taking you seriously as an expert, then maybe you need to look at whether you actually are or not before embarking on the project of writing a book. Another reason why writing a book might be important to you is that you have this big idea inside you, but you can't quite formulate it at the moment. The process of writing a book on the subject will allow you to actually get those thoughts together and get that idea out of you. This is obviously related to the previous one about having a point you wanted to say. But this is where it's more an idea that you've not quite formulated, but the process of going through the research and process of writing a book will help you actually get that idea out of you. The last reason, which is more to do with the fiction side, is that you've got a story, or for most fiction writers, multiple stories that you need to tell. The desire to tell a story is natural, and especially if you're trying to make a point or by the form of story, then you need to get that story out of you. There's also this desire to entertain. Now, obviously, there are other ways to entertain people rather than writing books. You'll notice I've not included a couple of reasons why writing a book is important. One is to make money. I really think that if you want to make money, then writing a book should not be the central plank of your strategy. It's not that it can't be a very essential tool in terms of making money, but you're very unlikely to make a fortune directly off a book you've written, unless you write an awful lot of books. You're more likely to make money via speaking or by creating courses than you ever are as writing a book in itself. Now, obviously, if you do consulting work or you do something based on the authority you built from publishing a book, then you are making money indirectly from a book. But as a pure motive in itself for writing a book, then making money probably shouldn't be the reason for trying to write a book. I mean, usually with most people, this isn't what they're trying to do with writing a book. They want to write a book for very different reasons. The other reason is that you want to be chosen. This was very prevalent in the days of traditional publishing. We've all met these people who are crafting their manuscript and sending it off and getting rejected and sending it off and getting rejected. They just want that yes, the big tick to say, yes, my writing is good and by definition I have been chosen as one of the few great authors in the world. Again, I'm not sure this is a really great reason for writing a book. For one reason, it's an awful lot of work to write a book and then not to be chosen. And secondly, even if you are chosen, that doesn't necessarily mean you'll be successful or that you wouldn't make more money from self-publishing the book. But some people want that validation of being chosen. I think if you want to be validated, you're far better to go in for an award or join a startup company and try and get venture capital funding, which probably would give a lot more rewards than writing a book in terms of the amount you'll get. So that's my answers to the question, why is writing a book important? Please let me know by emailing me at timlewis@stoneandpress.com or leaving a comment on the blog post about why writing a book is important to you. Have I missed anything?
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed today's show, please stop by iTunes and rate and leave a review. This helps make the show more visible. For free resources, show notes, and other helpful content, join the community at beginselfpublishing.com.